Okay, so answering the question about demon allies and which ones really boost armies, which ones to take. One of the options with demons, and I do have to say that I think you only take allies as demons if you really want to give it a huge army boost, because they're extremely expensive as units and they're somewhat random how they come onto the table. So, actually, they're very random how they come onto the table. So, you have to really think, alright, for the points, what is it going to give me? And for a lot of armies, the answer is not enough. But, I'm an avid demon player, so I play demons, and so most of my demon armies are just demons. But how do you use them as allies? Well, one option is to take some of the special HQs, and I realize this is just a bloodthirster, but one of the special HQs is Skarbrand, and Skarbrand is like the most badass of standard bloodthirsters. He's badass enough to have hit Khorne himself with his axe, and was punished for it. So he has his wings ripped off. This guy still has wings. Skarbrand is pretty cool in many ways, but he's an expensive pretty cool. He's a 300 point HQ, and you still have to take troops with him. And if you're going to take troops, I suggest you take demonettes. You would think you would take bloodletters, but I think demonettes are the way to go with Skarbrand, because they benefit from his special abilities. So, what is Skarbrand? Skarbrand is a weapon skill 10 character. He's monstrous. He has no ballistic skill, which is unfortunate. He is strength 8, 9 when he charges. He is toughness 6. He's wounds 4, initiative 5, 6 attacks, leadership 10, with a 4-up invulnerable save and a 3-up armor save. So he's pretty tough. He's a demon. He's fleet. He can't fly because he had his wings ripped off by Khorne. He has Furious Charge, he has Rage Embodied, which we'll get into, and Bellow of Endless Fury. And the Bellow of Endless Fury means that Skarbrand has the Breath of Chaos, which is a poisoned template, wounds on a 4-up, and ignores armor. And it also means that he wins any combat that he ties. So if you get in a tied combat, he wins by 1. Okay, and then he has a special power called Rage Embodied. And what this power is the one thing about Skarbrand that boosts an army, but it only boosts specific armies. So Rage Embodied means that every combat, close combat, within 24 inches in all directions around Skarbrand, all combatants re-roll failed hit rolls. Not wounds, but to hit. So this means that certain armies really get a boost from Skarbrand. He can land anywhere on the table because he can deep strike, or he will deep strike. And anyone within 24 inches of him, when they roll to hit, if they fail, they roll again. And so this is a pretty good boost, but it only works on specific armies. So we'll slide Skarbrand to the back. So if you're looking at demon allies, so you've got your demonic allies, you have your Traitor Guard here, and they're allies of convenience, and you have your Chaos Space Marines, and those are Blood Brothers. So did they really benefit? Well, to get a real benefit, to actually use Skarbrand to the most effective way, you want to strike before your opponent. You don't want your opponent re-rolling all of his hits before your guys even get to swing. So when that happens, you tend to die. And so there's two ways to play this. You want a really high initiative army, or and alternatively, you can play Nurgle armies that have super high toughness and they're likely to survive the attacks, but that doesn't work as well as high initiative. So for the Imperial Guard, does the Imperial Guard have any really high initiative fast guys? The answer is no. For Chaos Space Marines, in reality, most Chaos Space Marine units don't have super high initiative, so a lot of them don't benefit that much from having Skarbrand on the table. What's actually surprising is who does. Desperate Ally. Dark Eldar, for one, do benefit from having Skarbrand on the table, because if you took witches, and I know this isn't a witch, it's a warrior, but just as an example, if you took witches, they're probably going to swing before your opponent. They get a lot of attacks, and with Skarbrand on the table, they're going to re-roll all failed hits. So if you can get Skarbrand downrange, you drop a bunch of witches out of vehicles, and they start assaulting Skarbrand, and pretty much make sure that they're rolling all of their to hits again. It works well for orcs. It works well for a certain number of other armies, but only with specific units. Now, you got to be careful though, because if you're going up against, say, Grey Knights, Sisters of Battle, someone that has really high initiative characters like Death Cult Assassins, then Skarbrand is going to benefit your opponent because it affects all units. It doesn't matter. He just wants people to kill each other on the battlefield, so everyone is boosted with that rage embodied. Now, if you're playing on a team tournament, I guess, and teams of any kind are allowed, then Grey Knight Death Cult Assassins are boosted by Skarbrand, ironically. So, in reality, this is one of the cases where desperate allies actually benefit from this ability. You gotta really think unless I have a special Dark Eldar list, though, with a lot of witches who are going to be going first on their attacks, then I may not really get that much out of a 300 and some point demonic alliance. And I say 300 and some points because Skarbrand's 300 and you have to take troops. I noted earlier that you should probably take Demonettes. This is the mask, but she's in many ways the same model. So why take Demonettes? You take a full squad of Demonettes with Skarbrand because they will go first. In most combats, their initiative is higher than almost everything else, and so their multiple rending attacks each really get to work with Skarbrand versus, when they get bogged down in a combat and they don't get to reroll their hits. So, in summary, Skarbrand is an interesting way to build on a Demonic Alliance. Doesn't work really awesome with Chaos Space Marines. Terrible for Guard. Actually, got some pretty nice benefits for Dark Eldar. And be careful what you do with your opponents, because if your opponents say that they're demons or they have really high initiative characters like Death Cult Assassins or Dark Eldar, or Demons, Skarbrand's going to boost them too. And that's his use.